Hello, everybody. It's Loomer again. I'm here at PAX West, taking another interview with Ashraf Ismail, game director on Assassin's Creed Origins. Just quick, we already did an interview at E3, but we'll just do a quick wrap-up on some other subjects that have come up. So thanks again for chatting, Ash.
My pleasure. It's always wonderful to talk to you, Loomer.
Thanks. All right, so I got to lead off with a little bit about the modern day. The fans are desperate. They're foaming at the mouth. So just in general, not going to ask about if there is one or like what specifics, but should fans expect to hear anything about it before the game comes out, or is it just going to be a surprise when they first play the game?
Okay, so we still have just under 2 months until launch. So there is more stuff that we're going to reveal, generally speaking, about the game. The thing is, I don't want to, so we're not going to the details of what we will reveal.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense. We're not there yet. What I want to tell people is we hear you, we understand, we listen. Whether we go into details about certain stuff or not, for me at some point I want us to keep surprises. I want people to be more surprised by what the game offers them and the experience they have through that, because it's a part of the experience. Okay. So we listen. Take that. Just take that. I can't talk about what we'll announce more in the future in terms of the marketing campaign. Yeah, that's
all right. Fair enough. You guys have some talented concept artists, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
We have very talented concept artists.
Yes. All right. So we have a question here from. Actually, before we get into that, why don't we talk about one of the bigger story things that's come out since the last time we interviewed, which is Bayek has a wife in Origins.
Yes.
Named Aya.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about like maybe her personality and how it kind of meshes with Bayek's and kind of their relationship?
Yeah, of course. I love Aya. She's so when we incepted the game, when we were first coming up with, the origins of the Brotherhood, we right away went into a husband-wife relationship. Because we felt, we romanticized the idea that it was a husband and wife that through their journey together and through their relationship and the hardships that they go through is what gives birth or leads to the birth of something wonderful and beautiful for our series and our lore, which is the Brotherhood that we know for 2,000 years. So we romanticized that idea. So a little bit about Aya herself. So she's from Alexandria. That's her origin, but she, at a very young age, she had moved to Siwa, so there's some backstory there. Moved to Siwa, and she grew up with Bayek, alongside Bayek. She trained with him. She's not a Medjay herself, but she adhered to the training and to the philosophies of that group. And through a more Egyptian-style version of marriage, they're married together, they have a relationship, and the idea is the journey starts in their home. And so we see it through the eyes of Bayek. And so we catch up with him at the beginning of the game, which is he's trying to figure out what happened in his home. Aya at this point has already gone on this journey herself, where she's doing her own investigation. And so we catch up with her later, and then the idea is, as the game goes on, it's their relationship, it's the things that they discover together, the things they discover apart, that leads into understanding what happened, which eventually leads to the outcome of the game and so on. In terms of personality, she's very feisty. She's very in charge of what she wants. She has her objectives and she's focused on them. Like she is. How can I say it? She won't let anything get in her way to get the answer she's looking for. And so there is an element of hardness to her. We balance that off by the fact that her and Bayek have a true love relationship, a very intense, loving relationship that goes through a lot of hardships. And that was actually the drama we were looking. We were looking for two people who are going through the same kind of problem, but look at the world from a different perspective. And that how do two people that do love one another, still trying to go after the same thing, how does that friction and conflict lead to something bigger than them? And so we wanted to play with that drama. So she is quite different from Bayek in terms of perspective, even if their ideals are the same and their goals are the same. One detail to note about her is actually her, and it is an aspect of her character that she's actually half Greek, half Egyptian. And that this kind of plays into a bit of her role in the world and her perspective of things. which is different from Bayek, who is, let's say, a personification of ancient Egypt. He's really meant to be sort of that old Egypt. And so we play with that as well.
Okay, awesome. Sounds great. We have a question here from Protect Baby Sif, who is wondering if you could give like some examples of some cool things that can happen with the systemic gameplay elements in the game.
Okay, yeah. So we've built an AI world where AI, whether it's animals, civilians, guards, various factions, where they have needs and wants in the world, and agendas and so on. And so the idea is, when you start understanding this, you can start messing with it, you can start playing with it. You have a lot of tools at your disposal to mess with that. So whether it's changing the day and night cycle, whether it's being able to tame animals, to be able to use poisons, smoke bombs, that type of thing, fire even. So I'll give you one anecdote that was super amazing. It happened when we had a vertical slice of the game years ago, and we had our chief creative officer of the company playing it. And it was a fort, and he was after the commander of the fort. It was an assassination target. And with him at the time, the way he was designed was that during the day he roams the land. At night he's in a fort sleeping. And so he wanted to stealth take him out. So he gets to the fort, and he's trying to figure out where he was, and then he hears an alarm. And the guards are starting to scatter, and at first he was thinking that it was him, but no, he wasn't detected. He was really safe. What it was that there was these rebels coming into the fort. And so they were charging in, the guards were attacking. Because an alarm was sent, everybody who was sleeping wakes up systemically. And so the commander woke up, got out. Because he's the commander, he also plays a role of the leader in these kind of combat situations. So he ends up taking the charge against these rebels, fighting them off. The fight ends, some die, some escape. And instead of going right back to sleep, the idea is that he's carrying a lot of stress at this point. So AI carries stress. The idea is he cannot go back to sleep, so he starts kind of roaming his own fort, and he goes to one of the towers and it looks like he's really doing a lookout. And it was just this moment where it's like, okay, these guys are really living. And at first we were honestly, we were like, oh no, he wanted to assassinate him. It's not doing what he wanted to do. But at some point he just looks at us and he's like, did that really just happen? Did you script this? And we're like, no, this is just the rules of the world. And he ended up, instead of assassinating him, while the commander is on top of the fort, he ended up using one of the sniper bows to headshot him and kill the commander on the tower. So it was a really epic moment, but it just goes to show that we give a lot of info about the way the world works, but it is a living world. Stuff can happen. I've seen people tame a hippo, light it on fire, and send it into a fort. Cruel. It's very cruel. I wouldn't do that myself, but you can do that if you wish. I wouldn't do that, but we really.
There's no message. There's no message like Bayek did not, like warning. Bayek did not light hippos on fire and send them into forts.
Okay, without ruining anything, because I don't want to allude to anything else. We actually do have such messages for certain things that I will add we've turned off for demos purposes.
Interesting.
For the game, they'll be there. So I won't allude to what specific detail or element I'm thinking about, but we actually have those elements, so just we turn them off for demos.
Interesting. On a completely unrelated note, I was going to ask you about this Games Radar video where they go around just shooting arrows at cats, like over and over.
You can impale as many kitties as you want with your arrows, just like this.
I don't know if you have anything more to add to that. This is Cat Watch 2017 update.
We have many living animals in the world. You have a bow. So I don't know what else I can add to that. Just wait till the game comes out.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens when the game comes out. Yeah. All the cat owners will save their fury for then. Okay. We'll just go through some rapid fire questions to wrap this up real quick. Sweeney has a quick question. Will we have any first Civ sites or involvement?
So we're not talking about any of that. Again, what I will say is we know the lore. We know what other games in the series have shown in terms of art, murals, and so on. That's it.
Fair enough. All right. Zanger8 has the question, will the comics be necessary to have an understanding of the game's plot? So, there's been a big transmedia explosion over the last year, comics, books. Are any of those necessary or recommended before playing Origins?
There's nothing required. There are, we do allude to some stuff here and there, but it's really more minor stuff. So there's nothing required.
Okay. And one final question. Tamara is asking about an IGN video recently where you're doing side quests, and there's been a little bit of feedback around the quality of the facial animations and the lip syncing. And Tamara was wondering if you have any update on how much of a work in progress that is, if we can expect to see improvements in the final game.
Yeah. So one thing, people don't know what's behind the curtain in terms of production and how that works. But when we make these demos, we build the demo. At some point, we branch these demos so that we can stabilize them, polish them, make sure that they're ready to be played en masse, let's say. What that means is, while people are playing here and we're showing stuff off and doing interviews, we have an army of very talented people that have, the game is content complete, has been content complete for a very long time, that are on a daily iterating on this kind of stuff and pouring a lot of love and passion and work. So daily, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of changes going into the game. So for me, that's not a concern. I think we were much more excited to show off the game at the time period that in the timing of this kind of marketing campaign, because we knew with the kind of game we were making, with the intensely seamless combat system that we have, we needed to have people play it, have people feel it, and it's not just us talking about it or showing videos. So it was much more important for us to show the game living and playable rather than holding back because we're still iterating on cinematics, still iterating on animation. I think people can see that even from E3, we actually took a lot of the feedback, we iterated on it, and that's kind of the state we're in the project. All the tools are there, all the content is there. So iterating on it is very fast, very efficient, and we're constantly doing that. We're still doing that now. We're in the process of really tuning and polishing the game. So I understand the concerns. I've seen the feedback, but I would say, we from then even till now, we still have time that we're pushing and bringing the quality of the game up to the standard that makes us happy.
Okay, great. Yeah, I do hear the combat is great. That's the word around town right now.
Well, it was a shift in paradigm, really, and we wanted our players to really own it and take control of it.
Really invest in it.
Really invest into it, that's right.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for picking up on that.
Thank you, Ash, so much. All right, as you know, the game comes out a little less than 2 months, October 27th, I want to say, I believe. Also launch title for Xbox One X. You can follow Ash on Twitter, and then the Assassin's Creed, of course, has Twitter, Facebook, Ubisoft's YouTube channel. Keep up on the latest. There will be more announcements coming up, as Ash alluded to. Whether or not they're what you exactly want may or may not, but it'll definitely be interesting no matter what. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye.